California is basically Mexico's land anyway, so
Give it back.
Right.
it's captured land, all of it.
Just the whole of California.
The whole of America is captured land, isn't it?
Well, we know that. We know. We know
other-
they're colonizers, right? And actually, it's a perfect sorry, guys. It's a perfect segue into the current situation, right? I'm glad that I've got two of my friends, which I've known for majority of my life, sat here. Your experience as a black man, and we're not going to talk about the US, right? Because I want to talk about your experience as a black man in the UK.
With racism? Mm-hmm. Okay, so I've experienced a lot of racism, I'll say.
Okay.
I've also learned how to deal with it and understand the signs of it. I've also realised as well that I've realised that racism is on a spectrum as well. So I think there are some people who aren't racist, and there are some people who, you can't just say a person's racist or not.
Okay.
They fall on the spectrum, innit? So there might be some people who are...
Sorry, when you started with the section, I was like, racism has special needs?
No, it's a spectrum, isn't it? Like, so there are some people who are like mad EDL type, and you got some people who are just like on the other spectrum, who are just ignorant. Yeah, just like the sort of ignorant, sort of, they don't really know, but it's still racism, innit? It's still, so it's a spectrum thing, innit?
So there's levels to it, innit?
Yeah, so I think once you sort of understand that there's a spectrum to it and there's different levels to it, it helps you to understand it a lot more and neutralize it, if that makes sense, innit?
Okay.
Yeah.
But would you say your experience has molded the way, and I'm going to come to you in a sec, Jay, would you say your experience has molded the person you've become, or have you been quite... I guess what I'm trying to get at is, do you think the racism you've experienced has molded who you've become now, or have you been quite good at dealing with it to a point where it doesn't affect the person you become?
That's a tough question. I don't know.
Sorry.
I wouldn't say. I don't know. It probably has molded me in it, but I think your environment just molds you anyway, innit? So whatever you encounter is going to mold you anyway. So yeah. So, I guess it would. I guess different experiences that I've had has changed me as a person, innit?
But has it ever changed you towards your so-called oppressors or the individuals that have been racist towards you? Has it ever changed your perspective on them as a whole, or are you quite good at just narrowing it down to an individual case-by-case basis?
Yeah, definitely case-by-case basis, because that's the whole premise of racism, is it? Like, it's a blanket. You're discriminating against everybody.
Yeah.
So you have to. So once you realise that that's what racism is, you don't start discriminating just everybody else just because they're not black, innit? You also realise that it's individuals that are on the spectrum, innit? Okay. Everybody's on it.
Cool.
So yeah, that's my 2 cents on it.
Appreciate that, bro. Sorry if I put you on the spot, Justin.
No, that's cool.
So my experiences with racism, like I've had a lot actually. I find before, when I was younger, I would, in fact, up until fairly recently, I'd find I'd have to sort of filter myself, or maybe sort of cordon off parts of who I was in order to make other people a bit more comfortable.
Okay.
Just in order to kind of maybe not seem as aggressive or as outspoken, or like something might like piss me the fuck off. But I've had to kind of just sort of take a beat and just kind of say, you know what, let me just take a minute in order to not seem like that stereotypical, it's just gonna be another loud black man, blah blah blah. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Recently, I've had to sort of unlearn a lot of that, sort of like that internalized sort of toxicity, and just kind of like I should be allowed to be angry about certain things. Do you know what I mean? I should be allowed to voice my opinion on certain things. I should be allowed to say certain things without people being like, "Oh, here we go, here's another one."
Or you got a chip on your shoulder.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because again, like if everyone else is doing it, why am I not allowed to? Like, what's the difference? Oh, wait, hold on a second. I'm a few shades darker. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And obviously working out in Cambridge, you know what it's like.
Yeah.
You know, dealing with sort of communities that aren't, I suppose, as
They're not as multicultural, are they? Is the best way to
before
describe it.
wasn't. Now I think it's changed a lot.
Yeah, I think Cambridge has always been quite, compared to other places, I think like it's quite liberal, isn't it? It's quite a liberal place, isn't it? So you won't get that sort of far right sort of.
No, but it's a different type of. But then you sort of encountered that different type of. Kind of like, oh, you're black. I bet. Oh, you know what they say about you guys. Oh, it's like, oh, what size are your feet? Oh, okay, all right.
That kind of
that kind of stuff, and it's like, look, like, don't make assumptions about me.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? You don't know me. Like, you don't know what I know. You don't know what I've been through. So I'm not trying to hear any of that. Back when I was younger, fine, I'd be like, yeah, okay, you let it slide. I think back to one specific incident. I don't know if I mentioned it to you guys before, but when someone literally, like, I think I was at a work party and someone came up to me and said, "Oh, like, I like black guys."
That fetishize, like,
I'm like,
it
okay,
sounds like a fetish, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's a fetishization. Like, I mean, I'm other things, but okay, sure, let's focus on that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was dark in there as well. How the fuck do you know? Like, I could have literally just been stood in the shadow. How would you know the difference? Do you know what I mean? But it's one of them ones. It's like, no.
Okay.
I think you raised another interesting point about sort of trying to make other people comfortable in your presence, like, and I think it's an important thing to realize that you don't have to do that. Like, if someone is uncomfortable in your presence, that's their problem.
Yeah.
Like, for example, like the whole thing about when, like, if a woman sees you like walking down the road and they cross the road and shit like that, it's like, what? There's nothing you can do to make that woman feel like comfortable about it, innit? Like, all you're just walking, you're just minding your business, innit? It's understandable. Like, she might be worried that she's probably by herself,
more vulnerable.
Yeah. But like, at the same time, there are some people who are just gonna cross the road just because your skin color, innit? And as far as I'm concerned, that's their problem, innit? More space on the pavement for me. Like, I'm not really bothered about that.
Yeah, but also, you never know that maybe they need to cross the road as well.
Well, yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, of course. There's lots of different like situations in it. But like, I feel like as well, some people, they try and make themselves feel comfortable around like other people who aren't black in it, and you don't need to do that. Like,
I think the best way to test out their theory is that when they cross the road, you cross the road as well. If they cross again,
then you cross
Games of tag and shit. Just chase with people who are scared of us.
back and forth, innit? Like, but yeah, that's just my opinion.
Well, it's
about it.
interesting you say that, because I've realised, as the more I've like been educating myself and researching the matter and the way systemic racism works in general, like, I've realized the more educated individuals, so we're talking about Cambridge as a demographic, right? The more educated individuals are, the more subtle their racism is. And that to me is insane, because the assumption would be the more educated you are, but also the more educated are, the more subconscious or sometimes unconscious their racism is. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, they don't realize they're being racist and then they say some shit. And I think it's on us as individuals, everyone, no matter what color you are, to call people out at every single step and stage. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's almost like that South Africa situation where everyone got called out, then everyone had to come clean at the end of apartheid. And so then they had an entire reform in their society. Now, I'm not saying racism doesn't exist there, but the situation has improved. I think everyone can agree tenfold since the days of apartheid, you know? And it's like, it's almost that case of call people out on it, then they own up to their own shit. And that way we can kind of progress and move forward and educate a lot more people. And I think platforms like this, I would love to do a show dedicated to it, because I don't feel like 10, 15 minutes is enough time to talk about a subject like that in particular. But like, just using a platform like this with two gentlemen who have had various experiences. I've known you guys, I've been around with you guys. I've probably witnessed some of your experiences at times, and, you know, be interesting to have that conversation at some point. Right. I'm going to move it on to one final final.
Before you move on, can we turn the heating on, please?
The final thing I wanted to discuss was we've been. Here comes the deep water. We've been talking about race. We've talked about conspiracy theories. We've talked about child sex trafficking circles, etc., like that, right? But one of the most common subjects that I feel like doesn't always get as much attention as it should is gender equality, right? And I'm not talking gender equality. Sorry, I don't want to go. Maybe I phrased that incorrectly. I'm not talking about like gender equality in terms of different genders. Maybe I'm just talking about men and women, right? And the disparity between men and women in modern society, right? And I think the wage gap currently stands at 18%, if I'm not wrong. Those are numbers that I picked up on a few weeks ago. It may be less at the moment. Now, when everyone's been working from home, and the reason I bring the subject up is everyone's been working from home and their productivity levels have been different to what they would potentially be in an office, right? From my personal experience, I've noticed a lot more women being a hella more productive, right? And we can talk about this as men from our own experience. A lot more women being more productive than their male counterparts, and yet still being victims of that kind of pay gap. And I guess the question I really wanted to ask is, do we think we have potential solutions of how to move forward? Because we can talk and beat around the bush and go around in circles on the subject for hours, but do we have does anyone think they've got an idea as to how to solve this kind of issue? And I've just touched on it very briefly, scratched the surface, but I just wanted to give an example as to where I'm kind of headed with the conversation. Do you feel like we have solutions as to the lack of equality between men and women?
For something like this, I reckon it's more sort of a situation where we may need to approach it more as equity instead of equality.
Okay.
So obviously we're out here with, privileges that we're unconscious of. We need to start, for one, being more conscious of the fact that there are things that we can do in order to make their lives a bit easier. And I don't mean in the sense that, just throwing our coats over sort of puddles and shit like that. But I mean, like, if it's a situation where
Who the fuck threw their coat over a puddle? I'm sorry, my coat's worth a lot of money. I ain't putting that over a fucking puddle. I'm not putting that shit over a puddle.
No, but there are many situations where, like something simple as making sure that we call out our boys if they're, if they're out here being creepy as hell. Or
Hassan.
What are you talking about?
or yeah, like we already know that the wage gap is a thing. So maybe make things a bit easier by, making tampons, for instance, free, basically.
Free,
They really should be anyways, let's be real.
Yeah.
Like it's not...
Facts.
There's no...
I think all women's sanitary equipment should just be free. Like that shit should be on the government. Boris should have to foot that fucking bill.
Yeah, like
what a prick.
Honestly, there's
fuck Boris.
He's a prick. Sorry,
He is, yeah. There's stuff like HRT that really shouldn't be something that we that you'd have to pay for, really.
Yeah,
like
fair.
Especially if you've come through the process. Why, like, just give them the flipping. Like the government really should be able to foot that bill.
Should be able to subsidize so much.
Yeah, like if you're happy to still sort of pump money into. Don't get me. I'm not saying that the army isn't
necessary.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that, like, you're readily pumping money into the army, whereas there are people within the boundaries of your, of your like your sphere of influence, that are going without for something as simple as who they are, or like how they choose,
how they were born.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Exactly how they were born.
Like, and that's not right.
Yeah,
Like,
So they should prioritize on other things.
Like, look after your people.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Obviously, I can pop around and it's no problem, but
it's different.
Yeah, it's a different situation for my sister or my cousins. Do you know what I mean?
Well, that's the interesting thing is, like, I think for us, growing up in an environment where I personally can say my environment's been very female dominated in terms of family dynamic, right? You've got sister, you've got your missus, and she's got her sister, etc. Don't know what the situation is with you. Three sisters. Yeah. I can't remember, it was 4 or 3. But, like, do you know what I'm saying? We've grown up in quite female heavy environments. So the difficult question I wanted to ask is: do you feel like at any point in your immediate environment you've used your male privilege against your siblings or relatives? And I say against because it is almost like a fucking little Pokemon battle type thing, innit? You pull your card out, male card, and then she's like, I got a shiny Charizard. And nah, man, that's not going to work. But do you feel like you ever use your male privilege with your sisters, for example?
Off the top of my head, I can't think of any situation.
He's not incriminating himself.
No, honestly, I can't think of any situation where I've used my privilege against my sisters. I can't think of any situation that will call for that kind of. I don't know. I can't think of anything like that.
I think because you love them, you wouldn't think to.
Yeah, it's like I wouldn't. I don't know. I can't think of anything like
I've just noticed Amar's just kind of silently building up his fan base, just drops these cute little sweet comments, stays quiet for the rest of it. Right, I see your game, bro. I'm watching you right from over here.
All the girls in the comments,
oh, we love Amar. Amar's the best. He's married. That camera there. Justin, do you feel like you ever use your male privilege in your like immediate family?
So, growing up, probably unconsciously.
Yeah.
Obviously, African household, is women tend to do a lot more of the not just the emotional labor, but sometimes the physical. But my mum obviously made sure that I did my part. But I'm sure there were times where I probably wasn't conscious of the fact that maybe I was doing a little less than my sister.
Yeah.
Being younger than me as well, would have to sort of pick up the slack a lot. Obviously now we're all older, we're all trying. But to be fair, my sister there is still a lot that she does for the family that, like, I'm not saying my dad doesn't acknowledge, but it's like for him it doesn't sort of like factor at all. It just doesn't ping for him.
Yeah.
And obviously I've been trying to sort of push him to understand and to realize that kind of stuff. Same with my uncles, same with my cousins, but there's only so much I can do. I've always led by example anyways.
Okay.
So
I feel like when you get up to a certain age, you're kind of like not so far gone, but you can't. You can't change them in a way.
It's
So you
like
kind of just have to accept the fact that that's
generational
just the way
differences.
they are.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I'm hoping there's still time for them, but if not, well, it's fine.
So you do feel like it's a generational gap. So would you like, for example, our parents' generation would have been very different. The dynamic in their marriages would have been very different. You're a married man.
Yeah.
In terms of the I don't know, you call it equality or equity in your relationship right now, right? Do you feel like you do your part as much as your missus does her part?
For us, we like to keep it like balanced so that we are a team at the end of the day. But I feel like if I need to step up, I will. If she needs to step up, I'll let her know. So we'll communicate with each other that way, so that it kind of builds us up.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, we're a team. So it's all balanced at the end of the day.
Fucking sweet boy again.
Listen, man, I'm trying to
Got
make
a
sure.
few more fans.
Listen, I want to make sure when I go home, my key can still fit in the door.
How long does it take a locksmith to chain those? I'm sure it's a bit longer than 20 minutes. You're all right, bro. You probably get there as soon as the locksmith started working.
Yeah,
like.
true.
All your stuff in a black bag outside on the front.
I've got a spare room, man. You're more than welcome to come stay over at mine.
Okay, I'll let you know.
But you got to cook some of that Malaysian food for me,
will, man. I
dude. I need that in my life. I'm actually hungry, but I'm not saying that's the reason we're going to wrap up. We're going to wrap up because of time now.
Yeah.
But I'm also saying I'm hungry. Anyone want to finish up with anything? Anything you want to say? Anything you got to kind of proclaim to the people?
Oh, hold on.
Uh-huh.
Amar, you're not vegan anymore. What's up?
You know what?
Oh yeah, Amar, you ate chicken.
No. I wasn't actually.
He
I
had
was
KFC
vegan.
after how long? You pagan,
It's
you
Feb.
traitor.
So how long? Hold on.
Feb.
So how long? So you were vegan since?
Now I was a vegan for maybe 3 or 4 weeks.
Okay.
Sorry?
3 or 4 weeks.
Wait, hold up. How long ago did we drive past that vegan market? And that was months ago. And he was vegan back then.
Maybe 3 or 4 weeks, and then I started going vegetarian because I thought it's hard. Where I live, it's hard to get better choices. Cool. So anyway, I'm still eating healthy, but yeah. But was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. It was my
Roxy
first
needs
time
to
eating
pee.
meat.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
And you know what though?
Go on.
Like, I didn't feel satisfied. Like I actually missed it.
What,
you-
KFC?
I felt like I could have done without it anyway.
Did it give you the shits after?
Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah, I think we're going to call that a day. We've been Monday's a Vibe. Thank you very much. If you do tune in and watch, make sure you like and subscribe, please. And we look forward to seeing you next time, guys. Peace out.
Peace.
Peace.
Thank you.